A poor widow lived with her 2 daughters in a cottage at the edge of a forest. In front of the cottage stood 2 rose trees. Each year, one bore beautiful white roses, the other lovely red roses. The 2 girls were so like the roses that one was called Snow White, the other Rose Red. Snow White was quiet and gentle. Rose Red was merry and gay. Although they were so different, both sisters were good and kind and loved each other dearly. During the winter, when the snow fell in big white flakes, mother and daughters liked to sit before the fire. The mother would read out of a big book stories of kings and princes, witches and fairies, while the girls knit busily and listened spellbound. One evening, when they were sitting thus cozily, there came a knock at the door. Quick, Rose Red, open the door. Perhaps it is a traveler seeking shelter this bitter cold night.
Don't be afraid. I won't harm any of you. I'm cold and tired, and only wish to rest a while and warm myself.
Oh, you poor bear. Come in by all means and warm yourself, but be careful lest a spark from the fire singe your furry coat.
I'd like the snow brushed off me first.
Take your little brooms and brush the snow off the bear. Don't be afraid. He won't hurt you. He was friendly and gentle, and before long, the girls were quite at home with him. They came closer, and growing bolder, began to romp with him and tease him. The bear spent the night, and in the morning, he left. He trotted over the snow into the forest, but before night fell, he came back. And so, throughout the long winter, the bear went out in the morning and returned before dark. One morning, soon after the snow had melted and spring had turned the world soft and green again, the bear said to Snow White and Rose Red,
When I leave you today, it will be for a very long time, for I must be gone all summer.
Where must you go then, dear bear?
I must go deep into the forest and guard my treasure, lest it fall into the hands of the wicked dwarves.
Snow White and Rose Red were very sad at the thought of not seeing the bear again. Not long after that, the children went into the forest. Not long after that, the children went into the forest to gather firewood. As they walked about, they came to a tree lying across the path, and near its trunk something was jumping up and down in the grass. Curious, the children went to the trunk to see what it might be. When they came near, they saw a little old wrinkled dwarf with a long white beard, the end of which was caught in a crack in the tree.
Well, you just stand there and not help me?
Poor old man, what have you done?
Done? I haven't done anything, you stupid goose. I needed a bit of wood for my fire to cook my simple little meal, and I was just about to cut into the tree when my hand slipped, the wedge I'd put in flew out, and my beautiful white beard got caught in the crack, and I can't get away.
The children tried very hard, but they couldn't free the beard. Rose Red said,
I'll go and get some help.
Oh, you idiots, you white-faced fools! What good will other mortals be? There are too many of you now. Think of something better.
Snow White said,
Don't be so impatient, I have thought of it.
and she took her scissors out of her pocket and cut off the end of the beard. The The moment he felt himself free, the dwarf snatched up a sack of gold that lay between the roots of the tree. He threw it over his shoulder and marched off, grumbling to himself.
Stupid ninnies, the idea of cutting off my beautiful beard. Bad luck to them.
A day or so later, Snow White and Rose Red went out to catch a few fish for supper. As they came to the pond, they saw something that looked like a giant grasshopper hopping up and down on the bank, and recognized the dwarf.
You'll fall into the pond if you aren't careful.
I'm not such a fool as that. Don't you see the fish on the end of my line is trying to pull me in?
The dwarf had been fishing at the pond's edge when a strong wind arose, hopelessly entangling his beard and the fishing line. Snow White and Rose Red tried to free the beard from the line, but they couldn't do it. So again, Snow White took out her scissors and cut off another piece of the long white beard. Instead of being grateful, the dwarf was furious.
You donkey! Are you trying to have me disowned by my people? How can I face them with most of my beautiful white beard gone?
Snatching up the sack of pearls, which lay in the rushes, he dragged it away, muttering and grumbling.
Mutter, grumble, mutter, grumble, mutter.
The girls went home. Sometime after this, Snow White and Rose Red went to town to shop for their mother. Overhead, they noticed an eagle flying around and round. The children heard a loud, frightened cry and, running up, were horrified to find that a huge bird was carrying off their ill-tempered friend, the dwarf. Snow White seized the little man's coat and Rose Red his beard, and they tugged and pulled so hard that at last the bird gave up the struggle and flew off. As soon as he recovered from his fright, the dwarf began to scold as usual.
You clumsy creatures, couldn't you have been more careful? Look at my coat! It's in shreds! Fools!
He picked up a bag of precious stones and, grumbling all the while, went off to his hole in the ground. The girls went to the village to shop for their mother. Later, on their way home, they came to a big rock and they were surprised to see the dwarf there. He had emptied the sack of gems in a clean spot on the ground, certain that no one would come by at that time of day. The late afternoon sun shone on the gems, making them glow and sparkle with every color of the rainbow. They were so beautiful that Snow White and Rose Red had to stop and admire them.
What are you gaping at?
Before he could say another word, a deep growl was heard. And out of the forest came a big black shaggy bear. The terrified dwarf tried to make for his cave, but the bear got in his way. He gave him one blow with his huge paw, and the dwarf did not move again. By this time, Snow White and Rose Red had started to run away.
Wait!
But the bear called after them.
Snow White, Rose Red, I won't harm you.
They knew that voice. It was their old friend of the forest. Then a wonderful thing happened. His shaggy black coat fell off, and there before them stood a handsome, young prince, clad in shining gold.
Hi! Come join me here, center stage. I am the king's son. That wicked dwarf put a spell on me to wander the forest until his death would set me free. And now he has been punished, as he richly deserved.
and they lived happily ever after.
Oh,
And the narrator.
that was a little girl. Oh, that was very sweet.
Without your little crown.
I know I forgot my crown.
That was great. That
Excellent.
was very cute, you guys.
Excellent.
That was very, very cute. I love all the props you made and the costumes. Wow, a lot